Hey everybody, hello. This is Shane checking in from Aviate Audio. I have a very special guest with me today. He might look familiar. Would you like to let them know who you are?
I'm Ryan. You guys know me already.
That's right. Ryan's here, but today he's playing a different role. I'm going to be interviewing him about something that's very special and sacred. Can you take a guess? It's his pedalboard. He finally brought it over. And boy, am I impressed. This thing has evolved like multiple iterations since I've last seen this board. In fact, it's on a whole new, well, we'll get into the details, but what we're going to be doing about this board, we're going to get down to every detail, I think. I think we're going to get really familiar with your board. Are you excited, Ryan?
I'm stoked. I love talking about my board.
Oh my gosh, you seem so restrained, though. I'm proud of you. But I promise, Ryan, we'll get to it. This is beyond the board, and today we've brought you the board. I hope this is something we're going to get to do with more players. I think it's going to be a really cool journey walking through Ryan's board and talking about the evolution and why he's made the choices that's led him to this masterful creation. And I have a lot of questions that I'm going to be asking him about this sweet rig. We've had a chance to jam with it, so I know you're enjoying some of the crazy sounds that are being made. Ryan, tell me about what you're going for and like what is the title of the board? Like what's the tweet?
So, the concept for the board that I'm building here is basically to make it look like and be a space station. And that was the challenge where I kind of like set out and I wanted to make it my pedal board look like a space station. So a lot of space themed pedals, still tweaking a few things and adding and subtracting, but we're getting there. It's actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but I'm really happy with the result. It's a good result.
I'm happy with the results too, but what a theme. This is the space station. I can already see the choices that are going into the theme when you look at some of these pedals. Why did you come up with space station as the idea?
Just wanted my guitar to sound otherworldly. I do like playing some ambient kind of stuff or like a prog rock kind of thing. Trying to break me out of just like playing blues dad riffs and classic rocks.
Yeah, take it to space where it belongs. I love that. It's actually like part of our vibe. I mean, we kind of work together, and I think that vibe sort of goes into our products, like what we do with Aviate Audio. But space station, I think that's a fantastic theme for your pedal board. So what's the first stop like in the station?
So
What's the first station on this train?
So, can they hear me? Oh, hi. The first stop is a big blank space on the bottom right of the board, which has to be filled, and I had some ideas, and basically I'm kind of reinventing my drive section here. So I have the 1981 Inventions DRV pedal, which is like a preamp, like Rat inspired. It's very versatile. That's a really good drive pedal, and I'm very excited to add that to my board. So that's what's going in the blank space. It didn't come in yet, so sorry for the big space there, but that would be
It's part of the space station.
yeah. So
There you go.
So let's talk about the signal chain. So I'm going first into the Keeley compressor. Just a dang good compressor. It's pretty straightforward. You can play some funky stuff, help condition the signal a little bit, or help with my levels. It's got the single coil humbucker option, so depending on what guitar I'm playing, I can switch that. It's just the best-selling compressor of all time, and it deserves to be on the board. While not explicitly space station themed, it's got the aesthetic vibe that I'm going for, so it fits the bill.
I see that. It's got a nice font, and it's got the black face. It kind of fits with a lot of the other boards on here. What's next?
So next is the Man Sputnik, and this is a germanium fuzz, and this thing absolutely rips. It's got a bunch of different settings. I think it's kind of like a tone bender style circuit. I think it's 2 or 3 transistors, and it's got this drift function, which just turns it into absolute insanity. You can actually kind of tune it to be like a specific frequency depending on what you're playing, and it's pretty insane. It hates being near my power supply, so I first plugged it in up at the top here, and it was freaking out. It was making all kinds of crazy noises, but it is, I mean, germanium's super unstable, so I'm assuming it interacted with the magnets in the power supply somehow and had a bad day. But I moved it to the bottom of the board as far as I could away from the power supply, and it absolutely rips.
By the way, the power supply on this board is no joke. We're going to get to it maybe last, but you're going to want to see what it is.
Yeah. So
why do you put a compression before the distortion? Like, what's the idea there?
I just view that as it conditions my signal, and that will be my starting point for the rest of the thing. I usually like the compressor first. Also, this fuzz has a buffer in it, and it allows it to not have to be first in your signal chain, but I kind of want to put it as close as I can to being in the front.
Cool. All right, what's next?
Next is the Hologram Infinite Jets, which is the absolute most insane pedal I've ever owned. It is extremely complicated, even though it's got a pretty simple look to it. I barely scratched the surface of this thing. It almost does random things at this point, but you can actually set it for your guitar, so it'll like, I have no idea. Honestly, this thing is insane. I plug it in and crazy stuff happens, and it's newer to the board, and still kind of figuring it out.
Oh, so did you just pick it because of the name? It has the word Jets on it, so it fits the space station vibe?
Definitely not. I definitely didn't do that. But it is a freaking weird pedal that will totally like break me out of any sort of or inspire new songs or riffs or something like that. So it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. So, and I have barely any clue what it does.
All right. I mean, that thing is crazy. Like,
but because it's so crazy, I have it hooked into the Airpatch. So that's the next thing, is that the Infinite Jets is actually in parallel with the signal chain and being brought in with Airpatch. Currently, Airpatch is in momentary mode, so I can use it for infinite sustain, or it's got like a glitch mode, a synth mode, and I can just bring that in whenever I want with Airpatch, which is really cool for like an accent kind of piece.
So you've got the single loop switcher Airpatch, and then this is the pedal that you have in the loop for Airpatch.
Yep.
You have the Hologram Infinite Jets in the effects loop, and then you're controlling it with the Airpatch switch, which is on the guitar, of course. So that's a crazy combo. You put the Jets and the Airpatch together. I don't think I've seen that one yet, but I like it because this pedal is so versatile. So with the different Airpatch modes, and you can bring it in and out or keep it with latch mode.
Yeah, I the sustain feature of this is the coolest part, and it has really cool textures, or it could do like glitch stuff. So again, still trying to figure it out, but every single time I hit the Airpatch button, something cool happens.
Beautiful, and I'm glad Airpatch made it onto your board.
Yes.
Crazy. Wow. How'd you find out about it? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, what's next on the board? That's a crazy combination. This thing is already living up to the space station.
Heck yeah. So next is the Palisades, which may or may not stay on the board. I really do like it, but for some reason it doesn't really jive with my amps or my guitar. But it is cool, and it sounds a lot better coming out of this setup than it does my setup at home. And again, may or may not stay. Palisades or something cool. You can find them on another planet.
This setup, by the way, we're running it out of a Boss Katana amplifier today, so a pretty level pedal platform to try to try out these pedals. But yeah, that's right. Maybe it is like a geological feature of another planet out there. I personally like the Palisades pedal. You can get a lot of different cool distortion tones out of it. But you have no shortage of distortion tones on this board from what I can tell. And I think there's even one that we haven't talked about yet. What's next on the board?
Next is the Hudson Electronics Broadcast, and this is basically like almost like a console, but they said it's like some sort of weird broadcasting console unit that they modeled, and it's a germanium preamplifier. Again, germanium, super unstable, but sounds great. And this thing goes all the way from clean boost with a really powerful single knob low cut filter all the way to like Velcro-y overdrive, like bringing that console to the brink of death. And you can actually get some really cool fuzz tones out of it. So it goes from 0 to 100, and you can get all kinds of crazy sounds out of it. But I use that as like the last stage of preamplification to like shape the signal a little more or get like a completely different kind of fuzz tone than what the Sputnik offers.
So any different kinds of particular songs, or like what's a song you've been playing, or a genre where you might use one versus the other?
The Beatles famously went into like a Neve console direct in, and that's kind of like all of Revolver, and you can get that out of this thing. It's not directly a Neve. I think the JHS one is more of a Neve kind of style clone thing. But this gets you close, and I honestly, I think I like this one better. It's pretty cool.
So this is just an everything type of setup, because you've got like true to old school, true to tradition kind of in the broadcast, and then you have some really modern distortion options too, which I'm a fan of. You know, there's been a lot of guitar music made, and if you want to be able to play like true to the tone, because I know that's kind of your style, Ryan really likes to emulate some of those classic tones that he likes. I've seen this. He likes to try to get the same tone as like, you know, the Beatles, but then try to emulate like his favorite guitar players. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. I want to go from like being able to do regular dad rock on this thing all the way to like completely out there. Yeah. So
from dad rock to completely out there. Like, you want to be able to please everybody. Yeah. Okay. I think this board could please anybody. I mean, look, you've got some heavy hitting pedals.
It's 99% of the it's like 90% of the way there. I need like one or two more things.
It's 90. I think every pedal board is 90% of the way there. I think every pedal board is always 90% of the way there. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just always in a state of evolution. So I feel like everybody always says, it's just such a classic sentiment with pedal people, is like, yeah, it's almost perfect. But yeah, I mean, it's true. That's what's part of the fun, is just, you know, trying new combinations.
Spending hours and hours of research and then hours and hours tearing this thing apart and putting it back together.
Yeah. So what's next on the board?
The Grand Orbiter. So this top rung is much more set in stone for now, which is great.
Right. We're on the top row of pedals here on Ryan's board. We've now passed into the third layer of the space station.
Heck yeah. So the Grand Orbiter is a phaser mostly. It could do vibrato, but I don't even know if that works for some reason on this one. But the phaser is great because you can go super slow and you have really good control over the filter. The one knob phasers do a great job, but they always kind of just, that's what they sound like. So this gives you a little bit more tweaking where you can get it to sound a little different, and you can go all the way from like extremely slow to really fast. So it's a really good phaser, and that's why the next pedal is the Synesthesia, which is an entire digital modulation, everything under the sun, any sort of modulation you could possibly imagine in one pedal. But I do like phaser a lot, so I put the phaser is in front, and it's its own separate thing. The phasers on the Synesthesia are great too, but I really like the Grand Orbiter, and it fits the theme. It fits the theme, so it hasn't been.
Orbiter. Wow. Okay. So candidly, some of these pedals fit the theme better than others. But Grand Orbiter, that didn't stand out to me at first, but boy, does that fit the theme well. Yeah. Sweet.
Synesthesia is more of like a straight sci-fi theme, not necessarily like pure space play, but
it's like that alien component.
Yeah, I think Synesthesia is like you can hear colors or taste colors or something like that. No, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it is. I think it is something like that. Synesthesia, I believe, is like when you hear sound and it gives you. Yeah. You hear a color associated with a sound. I believe it's like the sounds give you color. Like it's giving you blue vibes when you hear a certain sound, or pink, or I don't know. Yeah, that's synesthesia. But it's also this.
Yeah. So basically, this can do all kinds of things. Also, the blank space below it is a good place where I could hook up a MIDI controller. So if I want to switch for more presets or something like that, that's definitely an option. So I might get one more pedal and an expression pedal for the blank space. But the Synesthesia is positioned so that I can hook up a MIDI controller if I want when I dial in my settings. So yeah, it can do chorus, tremolo, phaser, octave, rotary, phono filters, arpeggiators, weird things, can do envelope filters, all kinds of really cool filtering.
So you used to have a Line 6 M5, I think, on your board, and this kind of reminds me of that product, but is this kind of like the next evolution for you? Because both that pedal and the Synesthesia pedal have like a variety of different modulations and synths.
The Line 6 M5 was like my Swiss Army knife pedal for a long time, and it would do like distortions and other stuff too, but this is purely modulation. I use it for mostly the same purpose, just because there's so many types of modulation and filtering is extremely important. It's very underrated. I think a lot of pedal companies are starting to like realize that and come out with more filter pedals now, but even though it sounds boring, filters are really cool, and this does that, so that's pretty sick. So instead of buying 5 modulation pedals or something, I can just buy this and have everything, which is great.
Interesting. All right, what else we got on this third floor?
This is possibly my favorite pedal ever, the Voyager, and because it has a really cool harmonic distortion or harmonic boost circuit that they put in, and a tremolo that has like an envelope filter, and it also is input signal dependent, so it has 2 different modes. There's freak and then there's fade, and that'll bring the tremolo in and out depending on your input signal. So
do you want to show us at all?
Yeah, why not?
I think just turn it on.
Oh, I got this on too.
Oh wow, so it's slowing down when the sound. Okay, so when it's louder, it's faster.
And then you reverse it. So now it's like it's.
All right, that's sweet. So it's doing the tremolo, but also giving you drive. Okay, all right.
It's like if I turn this pedal on, it's the only thing on, and it's great. Or I'll add like a reverb or delay to it, but probably just this because tremolo and this distortion and the fact that it's so expressive because it's dependent on your input signal is like an all-in-one awesome tone for me. So if this is on, and that's why I kind of put it here, even though it is acting as a drive pedal, it's kind of away from my drive section. Just this thing is its own thing. So it's really cool. They're really hard to find. I watched the video for this pedal, a few videos online, like forever ago, and always wanted one. I finally found one, and I was like, gotta get it. Can't miss it. So this is like a limited edition one too. I think 57 out of 77. So they're pretty challenging.
Oh, okay. Dang, maybe we can get a shot of that. This is also made by Spaceman. So this is the second Spaceman pedal after the Sputnik here, the Sputnik 3, and then the Voyager. And of course, this brand of pedals is on this board.
Yeah, it's a natural fit, and also they make great stuff. The craftsmanship of the PC boards in there, and just it's pretty unreal. I do have a third Spaceman pedal that's not on this board, but that one's like locked away. It's a really, really early cool one.
Oh, dang. I see. Well, that's impressive. Cool. I like the pedals too. They do have a really nice look to them, and they certainly add to the theme.
Yeah, definitely an natural fit, and also the tone matches. So I won't just put a pedal on here just because it's space themed. There's a ton of them that I just don't want or don't fill a need for me. But these ones are really good, and they're built like tanks, so it works out great. So let's get to the next one. How about that? This is the Echo Rec, and now this thing, Catlin Bread modeled a Benson Echoplex style unit that was famously used by Pink Floyd at the Live in Pompeii show. And this thing, and they took it to like the next level, so they increased the amount of echo time, and they added a few things where you can just even push that unit further. Plus, those things are like $5,000, and they're very hard to find. And they require a ton of maintenance. So this is just a nice little digital solution. And while not purely space themed, I think Pink Floyd's pretty spacey, and just how good they did modeling that Benson unit, it can't leave my board. So
nice. All right, and then you got a really funky looking pedal right after this.
Yeah, so this one is the Slarp by Walrus Audio. It is the slow reverb and the ARP 87 combined, and Chicago Music Exchange, which is, I'm sure everyone watching this knows what Chicago Music Exchange is, but they make some exclusive releases and exclusive colors of guitars, and this was one of the pedals that they did with Walrus, and it was my two favorite Walrus Audio pedals that are both space themed in one package, and I only have to use one power supply, one power connector here, and that's pretty sick.
Dang. This is the drip I mean, a lot of these pedals, but man, this one's really cool. It's got, a sweet artwork on it. It kind of has like a Darth Vader looking character. It's probably an actual character, but it looks like somebody exploring a new planet or something, or the pyramids. Or no, those are definitely mountains. Sweet pedal. I'm also just overcome by the sea of knobs on here. So many different knobs.
I've never looked at it from this angle, like backwards at it at almost eye level, and it definitely looks insane. I'm surprised I know what most of these knobs do. So
Impressive. That's a lot of different options to crank, to crank up to 11. So, what made? I mean, when you like what kind of like started on this board, and what has kind of been like new, and like kind of like tell me about a little bit the order that some of these pedals were added here.
Well, we can get to that. Brings up the last pedal. So the last pedal is the Chase Bliss Audio Dark World, which is the first digital pedal they made, and both the algorithms are combination of Keeley and Cooper effects, and Keeley makes great digital algorithms. Like so many Keeley pedals are awesome. So I obviously have the Keeley compressor, but the reverb algorithms on this are great. It's got a plate, spring, and a hall reverb on the Keeley side, which is the world section of this. And then the dark side is Cooper effects, which Cooper effects are very hard to find, and they're pretty expensive. And this has got, I mean, this is expensive too, but it's a great marriage of two great creators, two great algorithms. The Cooper effects, actually, he just joined Keeley as of like a week ago. So, or not Keeley, sorry, Chase Bliss. He joined Chase Bliss. Him and Chase Bliss do these collaborations a lot, and so they just joined forces. So I'm excited for what the future for that holds. But this thing's insane. It gives me so the slow reverb is like a big ambient reverb, and then this one's got the spring and your plate and classic ones, but then the dark section is like some algorithms taken from the Gen Loss pedal, which is like a lo-fi. It like pretty much wrote the book for lo-fi stuff. And it's got this like shimmer verb, and also the black section. No, the black section, which is, I think the shim brings in like a lower octave, and it's awesome. And then it's got all these dip switches on the back. This is the new, so basically going back to your original point, this is the newest pedal on my board. The dip switches don't scare me, but there's a lot of things to do with them that I haven't touched yet.
Did you say you're not scared of the dip switches? No. You felt the need to say like, I'm not scared of the dip switches.
It's a great format. I think the dip switches have proven themselves to be a great addition to pedals. That I think Chase Bliss like patented this format, and it's a winning formula for sure. The dip switches are pretty cool.
I'm not afraid of dip switches either. I think they're cool.
Yeah. Once you learn what they do, then you're not scared of them anymore. But I'm still trying to get over that initial what everything does.
There's something there to it. I mean, you maybe were scared at one point. I think it's possible I was when I saw dip switches on a guitar pedal. I was like,
There's no point owning a Chase Bliss pedal if you don't use the dip switches. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, you got to just do something with them. So it seems like you're about it.
This is the first Chase Bliss pedal I've ever owned, so we're gonna crack the code, and I might get more. So speaking of that, the drive section, which is kind of in flux right now. I mentioned I got the 1981 kind of on the way, which is great. 3-knob, can do higher gain distortion. But the most intriguing pedal that I don't know if I'm gonna get or not is the Automaton Chase Bliss preamp, and that thing is prohibitively expensive, but it is quite cool with the flying faders. We got to try that at NAMM, and that was sick.
Yeah, that is some really interesting looks there. I see you're just going for the full out, like just like the archetypal dripping with swag pedal board, like the most absolute ridiculous I don't know. I mean, the space station is a really great way of wrapping it up, but I mean, these pedals are like modern masterpieces, a lot of them. Some really high-end stuff. I'm super impressed. What is the pedal on this board that you've had the longest? Just to get a sense, since we know the newest one.
That's a really good question, and I think it's honestly the Benson Echo Rec, the Catlin bred Echo Rec, and that surprises me because I feel like I haven't had that one that long. So most of these are newer. Maybe I had the Orbiter. I think the Echo Rec, the Orbiter, and the Sputnik are kind of like OGs to this pedal board. And then followed by the Slarp and the Broadcast. Palisade's relatively newer. Don't know if it's staying.
Do you have any pedals that are in your collection that are still like old, cherished ones that aren't on this board?
Yes. I have a couple vintage pedals, not like vintage, but I have the Russian Big Muff, classic, very underrated. Those are great. I have the an old Boss CE3 chorus pedal from the 80s. That's really good. I have another Spaceman fuzz pedal that is it's like the Space Rocket one. It's a really early one. It's really, really cool. And trying to think of what other pedals are flowing. Oh, wah pedal, classic Dunlop. Straight ahead crybaby wah.
Your first wah?
My first wah pedal for sure. That's mostly it.
No wah pedal on the space board today. Is that not space grade?
It's space grade. It's more so me trying to figure out how I'm going to fit and prioritize the board. I also could just have the wah pedal like next to the board and then just run another cable into the board. So because it has feet on it anyways, and it might just be the moves to do that. If I need it, then I just plug it in and run it off batteries.
Sure, or you can just keep the space. Or label it. Label this area the space.
That area is getting filled soon.
Okay, cool.
You caught me in flux here. The board is in flux.
Yeah, whose isn't? Well, this is an amazing board. I think it's like a complete. I'm not surprised to know that most of these are relatively new to you because I think it's like a totally different board than the last time I even saw your pedal board. Like, how did I not know about this? It's like you've been doing it behind my back, bro. I didn't know you were like you've been upping your board game on me, and I've been kind of just stagnating on my board and using the same 4 pedals. And now I see that has come to a head. And I'm kind of glad because I've already lost the arms race here, and I have no reason to go out and buy all these, super stellar pedals to try to keep up with you.
You got your digital rig that you love, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with that. That's why
digital. I mean like a whole floorboard that is not like a lot of these pedals are digital, and that's great. But I mean you have like the board that's all one board.
Yeah, we keep it we do it a little bit different with my rig personally, but this is about you. This is about this insane pedal board.
Oh, one last thing. The power supply I'm using is
yes. The power supply. You waited this long, and you earned it, and you thought we were gonna leave without telling you, but we remembered. Thank you, Ryan.
Our friends at Walrus Audio. Again, the power supply is the Walrus Audio Phoenix. It is probably the beefiest, craziest power supply, and I figured why not send it and get the biggest, craziest power supply, and it also kind of.
Well, let's get a picture of that. And man, the art on that supply is cool, and it's freaking. I'm gonna look at it from here. It is a unit of a power supply. That thing looks like it could power a whole guitar store's worth of guitar pedals.
It's insane.
This is Beyond the Board. Thanks for watching. I really enjoyed getting to see Ryan's board. It's been a good excuse to hang out and just nerd out about this board. It sounded awesome. So thanks for showing it to me, man. Rock on.